Real Estate Ninja here. I hope you're doing well. Things are definitely heating up in the real estate market. Velocity is still at very near record lows as people cannot afford to buy a house. But now something very interesting has come out of Yahoo Finance, and it is about the 6% agent or broker's commissions. I think it's a very interesting story. It's out of Yahoo Finance, so here we go. Real estate brokers pocketing up to 6% in fees draw antitrust scrutiny. Now, before I start, I must say that real estate agents and real estate brokers have charged between 5 and 6% for an average for the normal residential real estate transaction for as long as I can remember. But it is very interesting as we are hitting these all-time record highs, even though there's not a lot of velocity to back it up, but the numbers don't lie. Housing prices, many sellers are starting to panic over, hey, what do you mean I'm going to pay you 6% of an $800,000 transaction? You're still doing the same job you did when this house was $500,000 or it was worth $200,000. Very interesting times. Here we go. The lucrative broker commission system is at the heart of the U.S. residential housing market, is facing unprecedented antitrust scrutiny from the Justice Department and 2 private class action lawsuits that risk weakening the National Association of Realtors, the industry's most powerful lobbying group. Federal antitrust enforcers are poised to decide whether to pursue their own case after a years-long investigation. Type 1 if we have any real estate agents or brokers down below, and let me know what you think about this. I'd be very interested to hear what you think about this. Now it says the Justice Department is focused on the real estate commission sharing system that typically puts home sellers on the hook for a 5% to 6% cut of the sale, split between their agent and the buyer's agent. It's a structure largely unique to the U.S., preserved by the association's control of many of the country's multiple listing services, an essential tool that aggregates properties available for sale in a given region. Just so you know, there are over 800 MLS systems in the nation. There is not one aggregator of MLS data in the country that catches it all. I will tell you a little secret though. The Realtor.com platform, which is owned by the same people that own the Wall Street Journal, is the best when it comes to being able to capture the highest amount. If you're just looking at Google or Zillow, Google or Redfin, you are missing out. So I'm just letting you know. Little pro tip there. All right, here we go. It says here, this practice, which also will also be on trial in 2 antitrust class action lawsuits, including one beginning Monday in Missouri. That case could result in as much as $4 billion in damages, while plaintiffs in an Illinois trial next year are seeking as much as $40 billion. This is a big deal. And it's really coming to light because of the massive appreciation that we've seen in residential real estate and commercial real estate over the past 4 years. This is going to get very interesting because the market's going to turn. It always does. And it'll find a bottom and it'll pick back up again. But can you imagine a day for real estate brokers or real estate agents if they get knocked down and the National Association of Realtors loses this battle and they have to push down into a 4% or 3% commission, and then all of a sudden real estate values plunge? How many people that are fly-by-night real estate agents and even some brokers, I've seen people, most people don't know, like in the state of California, you can get a broker license with 0 experience as long as you take the license test and pass if you have a college degree. You don't have to have the prerequisite time in grade as a real estate agent, the experience. So there's some fly-by-night brokers as well. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens here. Now, the DOJ, the Department of Justice, began investigating residential real estate under the Trump administration, and National Association of Realtors agreed to measures including increased price transparency to settle the case, Biden officials in 2021 pulled out of that agreement, saying they wanted the ability to pursue further antitrust claims against the group. But a federal judge in January said that the DOJ is still bound by that settlement. The department is appealing that decision as the Biden administration expands antitrust scrutiny outside of traditional areas. Now, look, I'm not here to give you my opinion, but I'm just curious, what side are you on? The Trump side or the Biden side? We're talking about real estate, what they did with the National Association of Realtors. Just curious. Put it down below. The Justice Department declined to comment. But seismic change. The damages sought in 2 civil cases, and again, we're speaking about the amount that brokers, real estate brokers in our country, charge when they sell or list a home. Normally it's between 5 and 6%. Okay, so for everybody that just jumped on, it's a big deal. This is being challenged in 2 massive cases right now. Based on allegedly inflated commissions in each of those markets would be a blow to the Realtor Association and the major brokerages listed as co-defendants that haven't already settled. RE/MAX and Anywhere Real Estate Inc. agreed to pay $55 million and $83.5 million respectively, and to no longer require agents to belong to the National Association of Realtors. To think that this fracture could be happening is mind-blowing, and it is going to send certain brokerages in this nation into a tailspin. But the bigger threat to the industry as a whole would be a nationwide case brought by the Justice Department to dismantle the commission sharing structure altogether. In the worst case scenario for the industry, the federal government could seek to ban sharing commissions, prohibiting sellers' agents from compensating buyers' agents. Oh, would I love to give my opinion on this. Let me know, what would a world be like when a selling agent cannot compensate a buying agent, which means there's one agent? Or does the seller have to compensate both? This is a very, very interesting dilemma we find ourselves in. Now, a great quote here. Our guess is that the lawsuits in Missouri and Illinois will not go that far, but it is possible. Wasn't that an interesting take? This is from Redfin Corporate Chief Executive Officer Glenn Kelman, said in an interview, "We think that the DOJ action is necessary to reach that level, and that would be a seismic change. Basically, half the real estate agents in this country would be unemployed." Commission rates, which often get baked into a home's listing price, are an attractive target for the Biden administration as low housing supply and spiraling mortgage costs combine to create the least affordable housing market in 4 decades. In some parts of the world, total commissions for each sale are significantly lower, around 2% in countries like Australia and the UK. The Justice Department highlighted the issue in a recent court filing, asking a federal judge in Boston to hold off on approving a potential settlement in another antitrust suit challenging commission rules. The Justice Department is concerned about policies, practices, and rules in the residential real estate industry that may increase broker commissions. The agency said, asking for a 2-month delay to offer further thoughts on the issue. I got to be honest with you, this is blowing my mind right now. Now, a lower payout, completely untying buyer and seller agent fees, could eventually lower commissions by as much as $30 billion annually. According to a study by the Consumer Federation of America, a watchdog group, if aspiring homeowners had to pay agents directly, they would likely shop around before hiring one, increasing competition, or pay an hourly or flat fee service to handle paperwork at closing. Honestly, that is what they already do. I don't even know why somebody would say that. When people look to sell a house, they shop around for a real estate agent. Increasingly, the industry is accepting the fact that rates will eventually be untied, and they're just trying to delay it. This is from Steve Brobeck, former executive director of CFA. when he just said in an interview, the NAR, National Association of Realtors, says the existing system opens the door to first-time home buyers, especially from minority and lower income groups. This case is very much about buyer representation and that being at risk. The NAR said the buyer commission offer doesn't have to be the traditional 2.5%. The group recently said it could even be 0. This is the National Association of Realtors saying this. That all these real estate agents are paying fees every month to be a part of because they have to pay the brokers' fees and the brokers have to pay them. Long story short. But that higher rate persists in most transactions as sellers fear that listing with lower payouts for buyer agents would cause them to steer clients away, a concern borne out by recent research. Indeed, in an email to RE/MAX affiliates describing the company's settlement in a civil case, President and CEO Nick Bailey reminded agents of their professional obligation to show properties regardless of the compensation offer. Type 2 if you don't think that agents are really swayed by the amount of commission offered when they're thinking about showing a property. Type 3 if you think yes, 100%. If you have a higher commission over here and a lower commission over there, the agent's probably going to want to really show and push that property. It's just human nature. These changes could also put the future of the National Association of Realtors in doubt. You think? The group collects $150 in annual dues from more than 1.5 million agents around the country. It's a moment of reckoning for the group that last year surpassed the U.S. Chamber of Congress to be the biggest spender on lobbying in the U.S., laying out more than $80 million in 2022 alone. This unprecedented pressure poses an existential threat, according to David Greer, who worked with NAR for over a decade. He said the prospect of buyers agents exiting the industry and taking their membership dues with them in the wake of any reform has left NAR immensely afraid. And we're going to end it on that because I think this is huge news. And if these class action suits go the way that they may go, the NAR is in very serious trouble. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. The Real Estate Ninja is out.